All right, we got some more parts for Willis's Turbo 350 going into the 93 Camaro with a 5.3 swap. We got a filter and a gasket. And then we got, let's turn the light off, the Transgo Performance 350-3 shift kit, reprogramming kit with manual control. So from what I understand, this turns it into the valve body into a full manual valve body. But let's get in here and read the directions. I believe most of it is going to be messing with the valve body. We already got the transmission. We just took it apart. We watched a YouTube video. It's under that blanket there. Ta-da. But we watched a video on how to take one apart and how to put one back together. And we just looked at the trouble areas. We made sure everything, the clutches look good, the stills look good. There wasn't no bad spots in the trouble areas. We didn't check any clearances or anything like that. And I didn't even take the pump apart. We didn't even put the pump in. It's hard to do. Right there. It's under that rag. But yeah, we're waiting for the pump gasket, a new pump gasket before we put the pump. Oh, there's a big ring seal that goes around that pump and a gasket. We're waiting for that before we can put that back on. But we got everything else together except for the valve body and the pump. But I'm pretty sure the shift kit's just going to be messing with the valve body. So we're going to dig into this shift kit, reprogramming kit, whatever you want to call it, and start on this today. What's in the box? What's in the box? Transgo Performance. All right. So that's a valve body plate gasket. There's a pan gasket down in there. And let's see, we got some springs and shims and cotter pins. We got some springs over here. We got some seals, some more springs, more springs, more springs, more gaskets. I believe that's it. Let's start reading these instructions. This kit fits GM Turbo 350, or Turbo, we'll just say Turbo 350. Turbo Hydromatic 350. Non-lockup only. These are three transmissions that look alike. There are three transmissions that look alike. Identify trans before starting kit installation. Trans ID, a lockup trans has auxiliary VB with solenoid in front of main VB, valve body, that stands for valve body. A 250 trans has a band adjustment on passenger side of case above the pan rail. And note there are two types of inner 1-2 shift valves shown below. Compare your 1-2 shift valve to the photo and install the black or beige spring that matches your valve. Discard the other spring. Install new spring and clips as shown. And this is what it's talking about, the difference. Type 1 has like 2 notches there, and type 2 has a bunch of notches there. But yeah, let's get started. All right, so here's the valve body facing just like it is over here. See all these ports on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ports. And see, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ports that we all need to change stuff out in. So we'll start with the first one. You'll notice all these have pins in them, and there isn't a way to get to them from the back side. It's solid on that side, see? This first one, we can just reach in there and push. I've already watched a video on this. We can push that up in there and with a pair of needle nose pull up on this and take that one out. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. All right, that's the first port. I just reached in there with needle nose. I just dropped and pulled up on that, and now we'll grab it from this side and we'll pull up on it. Just remember that that's spring loaded. Bubbles shoot out at you. All right, I put this rag right here just to keep stuff from rolling off the table. Mainly keep stuff from rolling off the table. Now I had to lift this up and turn it upside down to get this piece to come out, but we got this piece, this little hat thing on it. We got this spring and this right here. And we're supposed to replace that one. New springs and clips. So we're supposed to change it with that green spring, which I think, no, it's a stock spring. We'll go ahead and change it with, find the green spring in here that looks like that one, and then we'll change that spring. All right, I went ahead and opened up most of these bags that had the springs in them, and it's this spring right here, this green one. None of the rest of them are even remotely the same size, and that's the only one that's got green on it. Besides these right here, no, that's yellow. I thought it was a lime green, but yeah. So we'll replace this stock one, and then we'll put this one up in there, and we'll shove it on up in there like so, and then we'll hold the spring up in there as we put the pin in. All right, so that spring was a little bit stronger than the other one, so I felt a socket that would fit up in there, and then I pushed the socket up in there and then started the pin, and then once I got the pin in there, I pulled this out and pushed the pin down at the same time and caught the top of it. Then I used the screwdriver to push the pin back on the bottom and pushed it the rest of the way in. But it was a little tricky getting it to line up because the top of the spring was still pushing on it. But anyway, took a little bit to get the bottom hole lined up, but moving the bottom around with the screwdriver and pushing on the top of the pin, it finally found its way home. Second one, it does not need to come out. All we're going to do is we're going to install this clip. We're going to install this clip right there, which is the second port back over here. So we got that piece, and then right here it goes right there. All right, right there, second one back, and this is an exploded view. Second one back, right there, second one back. Now this third one, 1, 2, 3, it does need to come back. Flipped it over, and I pushed on it real quick back and forth with my finger, but it wasn't coming out. So I started smacking on it with the back of that screwdriver right here where my finger's at. Started smacking it with my, well look, it's coming out now with my finger. But I was smacking right here with my finger, and it started to fall out. And now I'm just doing it with my finger, and it fell out. So that's how you have to get those out, because there's nothing on the other side. And you'll see how that's notched out. So when you put it back together, it's got to go in a way that that pin goes through that hole into that notch. But we'll go ahead and pull this out. Now there's another piece up inside here. I don't know if it needs to come out too or not. Let's see. Well, it just shows this little piece. All right, so we got the big piece, and then this stuff goes up inside of it. And we got this spring, and then we got these pieces. So let's pull this out. So we got that. All right, so the rest of that does need to come out of there, because that's the pieces. There's another spring up in there, and then this piece. All right, so I stuck the magnet up in the hole, and I got it out. So ours looks like that one right there. See how that one's just got 2 lines on it? So we're going to use the black spring. It did not have a spring on it. So let's find the black spring. It'd have to be this one right here. It's the only conical spring in there that's black. I guess this would be the beige. So yeah, We're going to take this spring, put it on here just like that right there, and then I guess this one stays the same. It does. So we'll shove that back up inside there. All right, we'll shove that back up inside there. So this black spring is going to push on that right there. So we'll just stick all this back up inside there, just like that. All right, again, once you get to this point, make sure your slot is faced in a manner that that pin's going to go all the way down through there, just like that. And then you push it up in there, hold it up in there, then drop your pin in. Well, I'm having some problems here. That black spring in there, you cannot push that in far enough to get that pin in. It's like that spring gets stuck in this hole and it just won't compress that far. I mean, it's close, but I even stuck a screwdriver in here and wedged it. It just won't close that far. And I've checked, and double checked, and that is that one right there. It's got the 2 grooves, the 1 groove back here and the 2 grooves here. It calls for the black spring. It doesn't look like this one. This one's got 4 grooves in it, which would be this beige spring. Now it'll work. I can get it in there with this, but with that black spring, that will not go in there. It will not. See, I've got that screwdriver wedged in there and it bottoms out. Oh, wait a minute, there it went. It went some more. Let me try to get it in there now. Well, it took some work and moving the spring around and spinning it and then putting this in and pushing it in and out. And I finally got it to go in there, but it was not easy. It was not easy at all. And you'll never get that pin out. There ain't no way. Because I actually had to tap it in there a little at the back of the screwdriver. All right, what are we on? The first, second, third, fourth one. This one I turned upside down and I just shook with pushed in and out with my finger really fast. Really fast upside down. The pin did fall out. The other one I smacked on it with the back of the screwdriver as I held it upside down. But yeah, if you go really fast with your finger, or that one came out anyway. But let's pull this one out. All right, so this piece come out. This piece was up inside there. And then this spring, see, that one didn't have a spring in it where we replaced, we put the black one at, but this one did have a spring in it. So we'll take this spring and that'll be it right there. The white one, we're going to switch it with this white one right here. So that'll go there. And then we'll put that all back together. And then shove that one back up in there. And that one went together a lot easier than that one did. That one slid right in there, no problems. And it's still got this one. You can't push in and out on it no more. Let's move on to this next one. If you do this, get yourself a magnet, because these pistons down here, they don't like to come out without a magnet. You put a magnet up in that hole, and they pull right out. Oh, I got dog hair on me. It's petting the dog. Let's see. They pull right out. But on this one right here, we got this one. We got the piece that goes up inside there. 2 pieces that come out of there. It says orange spring. So we're going to take this orange spring, trade it out for this one, and then we'll put it all back together the way it came apart. Alright, so we're done with page 1. Let me show you something else. Look, one of them gaskets is broke. Can you believe that? Alright, we're going to skip. This is page 2, step 1. Position the new separator plate as shown. Install the two 1/16 cotter pins furnished up through the plate at holes marked with arrows. Spread the ends of the cotter pins about a 1/2 inch. Then cut off 1/8 inch as shown. Alright, so those go here and there. Now it's just talking about these two holes, because if you're using a case gasket that blocks these two plate holes, use plate as a guide and cut holes in gasket. Our gasket has these two holes. So the gasket that you use has to have those two holes. But these clips, they go here and here. So, and they go just like that. Cotter pins, mainly what they're for is if you want to switch it back to automatic, you pull the cotter pins out, and that's why you want it facing the valve body. That way you can just drop the valve body, drop the gasket, pull them out. There's some other things. See, to convert back to automatic, remove the clip from the governor. We'll do that later. Remove 1/2 shift valve splitter spring. Install original shift timing and new retainer clip. Remove cotter keys from separator plate. This does not require removing separator plate from transmission while holding the separator plate up against case. Pull cotter keys out with pliers. See, you just grab them and pull them out. But those are the steps to put it back to automatic. This is going to be a manual, pretty much a manual valve body at this point. And then, you know, the other directions in here, which this 1/2 shift, it's in there so tight, I don't know how you'd get it back out. I like to never got the roll pin back in it. On these cotter keys, you also want to make sure that they fit up in the holes. They fit, yeah. They fit without binding on everything, and we're going to check on the transmission too. Down on the valve body and make sure, you know, our holes line up. Them cotter keys, I mean, that's a pretty big hole and this is a pretty big slot, so yeah, you'd have to really mess that up to get those to mess that up. Alright. Also going to check it with the gasket to make sure it doesn't catch on the gasket, because it'll be this hole and this hole. So that's a pretty big hole. Let's see. And there we go. It goes down through the gasket without hurting the gasket, and the gasket's going to stick to the plate now. But yeah, just like that. It actually rubbed up against the gasket on that one a little bit, but that's okay. Let's go on to number 2, installing intermediate servo original washer. Install new large washer here, and then install the 8 furnace washers. So large washer and 8 washers. Remove and disassemble intermediate servo assembly and discard servo spring. Then we'll install the new spring. Install 8 washers furnished on pin between piston and original washer. Install servo pin piston into case without spring and spring seat. Install case gasket and new plate on case. Position valve body without the lower gasket as though installing it, and push it up hard until servo pin bottoms out. Remove shims one at a time until valve body will push flat against plate. Remove 2 additional washers to obtain the clearance. Do final band clearance check. Install large flat washer furnished onto the tapered end of the pin. Now install spring seat and new large gold spring furnished. Reinstall servo assembly. Alright, so let's do that. Alright, here's our servo assembly, and then our 8 washers and our new spring. So we'll go ahead and take those over to the transmission. It makes it a lot easier because we have the transmission out of the car, but we're going to flip it. We flipped it upside down. All right, and then to check this pin height, we're going to take everything off the pointy end, the tapered end, and then we're going to put the original washer with the 8 washers in the kit. And then we got the gasket, the case gasket, and the plate, and I put this on there just to hold everything straight. Now we're going to put the valve body on it and push it down and make sure everything goes flat. And if it don't go flat, we'll lift up on this. We'll take one washer out, and then we'll take one washer out, and then we'll try it again. It's hard to get them out of there, but yeah. Take one washer out. I got 2, and then put this back on, and then put the valve body on it and push down until you can get it to go all the way down. Once you get it to go all the way down, then you take 2 of these washers out to set the clearance. Notice, push down as far as I can. It's not going all the way down, so we'll take one of those washers out, and I just scooted the valve body back, took this off, and we'll take one washer off at a time until we can push that flat. See, that pin pushes on that band inside the transmission. All right, pretty sure it's going flat now. Yeah, that's going flat now. The whole thing's pushed down. Now for the instructions, we take 2 more of the washers out for clearance. But now we can put our large washer back in to the tapered end, our spring seat, and our new spring from the kit. All right, so in the box are 4 check balls, and you'll notice they're marked with that little round C. So we're going to go ahead and put the 4 check balls in. All right, there we go. Per the instructions, we got that one there, right there, just like that. Then we got that one right there for that one right there. And then we got this one right there for that one right there. And then lastly, we got this one over here. So look them way back. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so step number 3, install gold spring and O-ring on our modulator valve. So we'll take our modulator valve out. It's just got this bracket that holds it in, so unloosen that bracket and it should slide out. All right, and this is what came out. There was not a spring on here, so we stuck this spring on here, and then we put this O-ring on there. We're going to lube this O-ring up, and actually there was an O-ring on there. It stayed up in the hole, so we'll dig that one out. Good thing, because it's pretty dry. And then throw that one out. And yeah, there's no spring up in there that I can see. And then we'll stick this one up in there. All right, then we got that all the way up in there. That spring tries to push it out some, but yeah, that's as far as it'll go. We had to kind of push on it just to get the bracket on. Number 4. There's a new special gasket under support plate, stops high clutch failure. Install support plate and gasket after installing check balls. New Transgo main plate with welded transfer plate and main plate gasket. So yeah, let's do that. They let our gasket bounce around with our plate. The plate ripped the gasket. I already threw it away. So we're gonna have to use our old gasket, which is actually, the old gasket's actually a better material, but when you do that, you gotta make sure these two holes are drilled. And the gasket itself. Actually, the gasket we took off had one of these, but it did not have the other, so I took a razor blade and cut a hole in it. All right, go ahead and put the gasket on again. These are the two holes that I had to put in this old gasket, which it already had one. I believe it already had that one. I just had to open it up some. Then we throw our plate on. All right, gasket, plate, and then there's going to be this gasket that goes up here, I guess for that new passage that we created. The only thing I can think of it before, because that plate is flat as can be on both sides. So grab the plate, see, flat as can be on both sides. We'll clean that off. We'll go ahead and throw that on there. We'll put the other gasket on, and if you're working under the car, you can use Vaseline or thick grease to get the check balls and the gaskets, to get the check balls to stay in the case. And you can spread grease or Vaseline on the plate, and the gaskets will actually stick to the plate, kind of like glue. But we're working on it out of the car, so we got the transmission upside down. We don't have to worry about that. I left these bolts loose just because. Now we're going to throw the valve body on it and go ahead and put the bolts in it. When we put the valve body in, there is a little S linkage that you kind of got to put the valve body in this way and put that S linkage in at the same time. Put it in, I started all the bolts, and then I went through and tightened them all, making sure to put your S clip in here, and then your parking pawl for, or not, yeah, the thing that clicks it into gear each time. And then make sure, put this all back together, and then we got to run this up in here through that hole and put the filter on. That filter only go on one way. So will the gasket. There is a gasket that goes in there, so make sure you look. There's two big holes, two small holes. Two small holes are the bolt holes, two big holes are the passage holes. So you got to make sure it all lines up, and the filter too, make sure it lines up with the holes as well when you put it on. So governor is located on driver's side of transmission towards rear of case. Remove 4 bolts. Use a 1/2-inch socket. Remove wire retainer. Use for blade screwdriver and hammer gently. Tap cover flange outward to remove from case. Yeah, I don't know what 4 bolts they're talking about. The wire retainer, see, this goes on there just like this. And then this wire retainer kind of clips on like that. And then that holds it on. You put some, I usually put silicone and a rubber seal around there. But what 4 bolts they're talking about, I have no idea. Because the tail housing has 4 bolts, but it don't have to come off. But anyway, we already done that. Remove governor from case, we already did that. Install the spring clip. Install the spring top clip furnished in the kit as shown in figure 3A. 3A. Alright, we got that. Alright, so you're supposed to do a series of these. You stick it in like that first. And then you snake it around inside there. Up inside there. As shown there. Then you take that leg and you spin it around and put it down inside there, just like that. That's what we got. And then that keeps that. Well, it don't keep it from moving, but pretty much keeps it from moving at all. But yeah, that's how it shows it. There, right there. And then there, right there. Alright, then we can put that back in the hole, put the cover on, put the clip back on with some sealant. Put the governor seal, new seal on, cleaned everything up. And I'm also going to put some RTV right around this part where my finger's at. Make sure this seals. I got some silicone on it. Now I'm just going to take this rubber hammer, tap her in. All right, then we put the clip on. Stick it in the hole and latch it over here. All right, there we go, guys. Never done this before. I've done a shift kit before. Back when I was really, really young on the ground. It was like a B&M stage 1 shift kit. It wasn't as... I think all we did was take the valve body off, take out some check balls and drill some holes in the plate, put it back together. But I really don't like the way that 1-2 shift valve went in there, but I think it's fine because that big part, it don't move. The parts inside of it move, and the pins in there, it doesn't. You'll never get it back out to change it back to automatic. So I don't know. What do y'all think? Is it going to work? Stay tuned to find out.